Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you all to the Eden SDA School's virtual open evening. We had some technical difficulties, but we are about to make a start. So I'm kindly requesting for those of you who are joining us on Facebook, go ahead and press the share button so that we can be sure that this reaches the widest audience possible. We are about to begin. You're going to get ready to get a taste of the Eden experience. So press that share button, allow the word to be spread, share the link if you're on YouTube with your friends and your family and your loved ones so that they can catch a glimpse of what's going on here at the Eden School. We're about to begin.
Welcome, everyone, to our virtual open evening. We're so happy to have you join us, and it will be a delight to take you on a tour and introduce you to the Eden SDA School, our teachers, our students, and our parents. Now, the Eden SDA School is a warm, friendly, and vibrant learning center. It caters for pupils from all walks of life. We're especially set up to support children from a variety of backgrounds, and we harmoniously educate a range of students from a variety of faiths. We're an independent faith school, you see, providing a stimulating, holistic education for our children. As our motto states, we are educating children for eternity. And therefore, we need to just remind you that we have been around for over 25 years. You see, we started in 1995, and over the 25 years, our school has evolved and it has developed. And we're here based in Ealing, and we are about to do really great things in this neighborhood. And we're also excited to let you know that September 2020 we will be celebrating our 25th anniversary, and we hope you will come along and enjoy it with us. We focus as a school on not only improving our pupils' academic ability, but also their self worth, their emotional intelligence, their spirituality. We believe in nurturing their self belief, their self esteem, and helping them to understand that they are special, they're unique, they're created in the image of God, and they have a distinct purpose and role to contribute to our society and to define our society. Our pupils' life skills are cultivated and honed at Eden, and it's where academic excellence is facilitated and celebrated. So celebrate with us. Many of our black boys at our school came from very dysfunctional environments, dysfunctional schools where they were damaged, where they were broken, where they were distrustful of authority, and they were being molded for prison. The local authorities and parents in distress brought many of our children to us and asked us to do what we can. And over time, 9 times out of 10, when the children are placed, especially our black boys are placed in our school, we see them become transformed, not overnight, but over time. And in that way, we see men of strength, men of character, men of value, leaving our school and going on into the world to do great and wonderful things. You see, we're a school of second chances. The Eden SDA School is a place where our pupils' creativity is nurtured and cultivated. And we do dance, we do drama, we sing, we do movement, we paint, we create masks, we create um, um, costumes that represent who we are. You see, one of the most exciting things that we at Eden do is we have presented a production called Motherland. We've done this many years now, so it's become our annual theme that we show to the general public. Anybody who wants to know about Eden, they need to know about Motherland. Motherland is a big celebration of who we are as a people. And the story of the slave trade is seen through the eyes of children when we present Motherland. And so you can see every staff member, every pupil from nursery, from 2-year-olds all the way through to 18-year-olds, and the adults, the staff, participating, acting, singing, learning the African national anthem, being able to sing songs in the culture that their parents and their forefathers once knew. They see a representation of how our people, through the slave trade, was suffered pain and suffered heartache. They were abducted, they were raped, and our children show this to the general public in a grand presentation of Motherland. And this gives our children full insight into their history, their past, their roots. We don't only present Motherland once a year at during Black History Month, but we realize that Motherland has to be showed throughout the whole year. And we need to teach, whether it's English, whether it's maths, whether it's science. We need to teach this through Motherland. And so we make Motherland the central and integral part of our school day. And our children learn to realize that their history is not only mixed up with slavery, it's not only mixed up with pain and heartache, but it's also mixed up with kings and queens and people who were inventors and creators, who introduced maths and who introduced writing and who were able to have such wonderful inventions that our children begin to have self-worth. They begin to realize that they have a history too, and that they are not just children of slaves or linked to the slave trade, but that they are linked to a grand future, a great future. This is just a snippet of the Eden School. I do hope you will enjoy your time with us.
Hello everyone, my name is Mrs. Laura Osei and I'm the head teacher of the Eden SDA School.
Hi there, I'm Mr. Suarez. I teach humanities, history, linguistics, in this case Spanish, and religious education. Also I teach DT, Design Technology.
Hi, my name is Miss Griffiths and I teach years 5 and 6.
Hi, my name is Elena Pegado. I am a teacher of Eden School in the nursery.
Hello, my name is Mr. Ajuman. I teach mathematics, science and religious education at the Eden High School.
Hello, my name is Miss Davis. I teach food preparation and nutrition, geography and drama.
My name is Mr. AJ Moral. I teach maths to year 7 and 8.
Hi, my name is Mrs. Hoyler and I teach years 1 and 2.
The Eden SDA School is an independent Christian faith school based in Ealing, West London, catering for children between the ages of 2 and 18. Our desire is to awaken the dormant greatness lying within every child as we seek to harmoniously develop their characters by building strengths and patiently fortifying their weaknesses. Small classes, second chances, praise and worship, and friends who become family. Welcome to the Eden SDA School.
I am fearfully and wonderfully made in the image of God. Therefore, I will be courteous, I will be healthy, I will be kind, I will be respectful, I will be studious, because I am educated for eternity.
Let's dig a little deeper now, and let me introduce you to some of my staff, my senior leaders, in fact. And we're going to begin with our early years coordinator and assistant head in the school, responsible for Key Stage 3, Miss Sharon Davis.
Hello, nice to meet you. My name is Miss Davis, and I am the early years coordinator. I'll be telling you a little bit about our early years department. We have a lovely brand new department which has all the 7 learning areas that you have in the early years foundation stage. We have our reading and our communication and language department, where the children will engage with reading books and get introduced to learning and understanding letters and numbers, and we have our mathematics area. As you can see, we have a lot of hands-on creativity and hands-on equipment that the children can learn and have fun and engage and play while they're learning. As you walk around the room, they're learning how to become friends in the personal and social development early years coordination area. They also are learning how to not just become friends, but how to deal with solutions. We are always capturing their evidence. They're learning how to play in the role play area. In this area, as you just saw with the video, there's so much resources. These resources are to help your children, our children, because when they come to us, it's like a home away from home. We're there to sort of engage them, to show them how they can learn, how they can play, how they can interact with each other. We're also able to capture this evidence, not just by ourselves, but with all our early years practitioners, as well as yourselves. We are there to sort of help your children to not just grasp learning, but have fun in doing it. Not only fun, but also learn as they grow up from the age of 2, they can come to our early years department and they will gradually just progress with their own individual areas of how they can to like from numbering just to counting and singing and rhyming. We learn that when they sing, we like to sing at Eden. So when they sing, they're learning about communication, they're learning about languages, they're learning about themselves. We also act and we do drama. In the Motherland play, the children are busy creating their own masks. They even create their own their costume jewelry. They even help to mimic animals in the jungle or animals in the nature around them. This is the way of learning, to make learning fun. We also ask our parents and our carers to help us to see what the children are doing at home. You see that they mimic what we are doing at school and they'll take it at home. And in this way, they are also learning. And if you capture this, it will help to build up a wonderful portfolio that they're able to pass their early learning goals. We're there not only about academics, but about their spirituality, also about their creativity, about their communication, about them having fun. We do things inside and outside. It's just so much fun. We go on a number of community walks, learning about what happens at the post office, what happens at the shop, what happens when they go to the park. And in this way, they're learning about nature in their forest school. It's a really engaging way for children to learn.
I have had such a fantastic experience. I am one of the biggest champions of the Eden School and every single thing they do. So anything that they do, I am more than willing to support them. They're a fantastic group of people, teachers, so passionate about what they do. It's absolutely the right place to send your child. My son has been in the Eden School since nursery, is now heading towards year 3. I've got so much respect for the teachers. They know your children. They have very, very small classes at the Eden School, and it's a fantastic opportunity for the teachers to really to work with your children and give them the time that they just wouldn't get anywhere else. The teacher to child ratio is such that your children don't, there's no out, there's no way, they can't get away with anything. The teachers know them, and they really work with them. Yes, they push them, absolutely. They push them. They are They are the discipline. They're taught discipline as well. The children absolutely love the Eden School. One of my very early experiences at the Eden School was the teacher teaching my son to read, and sat with me and actually taught me phonics, made a video, made him a book, and within 4 months he was reading. And I credit Eden with that, because the time they took to work with me and they worked with him, it just wouldn't have happened anywhere else. I will always say it. It's not about a building. It's not about technology. It's not all about the fancy things. Eden has the best base. They have the right teachers on a biblical foundation, and they have people who care. And they have people who do the job for the right reason. So you could put them in a tent. The Eden School would be amazing. You could put them in $1 million building. The Eden School would still be amazing. You really have to give it a try. But it is a fantastic place to educate your children. There will be nothing that you will regret about sending your child to the Eden School.
Wow. It's so nice to hear our parents speak honestly about the Eden School. And I want to now introduce you to another member of our senior leadership team. And this is Mrs. Verona Hoyler, and she's head of the primary school.
Hi. Why would you send your child to our school? Well, firstly, let me tell you, one of the things that we enjoy the most, that is laughter. We have this song called "A Merry Heart Doeth Good Like a Medicine." So we believe that once your child comes in, one of the most important things to do is to get them looking happy, get them feeling happy. That will help them to get through the day. One of the things that we like as well, as you may have just heard, is about the phonics program. We have a phonics program in primary called Granny Riley. Now, Granny Riley's program helps our children to read. And we find that between a month to 6 weeks, and some children a little bit longer, we get our children reading, and they enjoy it. They don't just read, they enjoy it, they excel, they just want to move on to other books. The other thing that we do at Eden is we have worship. We feel that it's important to educate the child holistically, mentally, physically, spiritually, academically, all rounded. And so therefore, our children enjoy worship. Primary children are just loving worship. They get an opportunity to sing, to laugh, to debate, to dance, to clap, to play the drum. They just have a wonderful time. And also they get an opportunity to discuss and debate about their health, about the new things that is happening in the news and how it applies to their lives.
Mm-hmm.
You don't send your child to our school. Now, another point in primary that we have, as you may have heard already, is small classes. Oh, it's just wonderful to have your child in a small class. They have an opportunity to talk to each other like how we're talking in our small groups right now. And they have an opportunity to discuss. And we have an opportunity to get closer to them, to understand their physical needs, their emotional needs, and more than anything else, their academic needs. We check their learning styles. We get to see where they're at and where they need to be. And a lot of them move away feeling so amazed and confident and just looking at themselves and saying, wow, look at what I've achieved just being at Eden. We just had a graduation recently, and our year 6 children just excelled. They just stood up and they were able to present themselves on our virtual graduation and speak with confidence. No shammering, no shy, just standing and glowing and speaking loudly and promptly and confident about what they have learned and achieved. One of the other things that we find that we enjoy sharing with our children is outdoor learning. Outdoor learning is just amazing. Now, we have nature all around us, and our children are taken out to have their lessons outside. English, maths, science, learning about the flowers in front of them, having the lessons out there, looking at the trees, measuring the trees, identifying the trees, having an opportunity with English, hearing the birds, listen to having touch with their five senses as they begin to write and read and explore and being able to use their creative mind. We are not dependent upon the child just looking at books, because our children have so many other senses that they can use, and they are not limited to one book or several books. They have a mind, and so we encourage them to explore it and use it. Another thing that we have in our school is that once a year we get our children to go out to camp. And they learn lots of survival skills. They learn how to light a fire. They learn how to make their own food. They camp underneath the skies. And they walk away with an experience that they have never had before. And many of them think, oh, miss, can we just do that one more time? Finally, why send your child to us? We are unique. We are different. We bring boys and girls from when you've sent them to us, they are transformed into adults that you cannot imagine. They are valued. They are important. They are precious. They are gems. And we teach each one of them in a unique way that when they leave, you have to ask yourself, my child is ready to be the Prime Minister or President of any country. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Michaela Campbell and I am an Edenite. I started at the Eden School in, I think it was year 4. I had just moved from Hampshire back to London. And it has been quite a ride. I stayed at Eden from year 4 all the way up until 6th form when I went off to uni. And Eden has basically taught me so much, from communication skills, having confidence in myself to kind of go out and be a leader, to performing. Hello, that's my son. To performing and caring for others, or not just caring for others, but realizing that it's okay to care for others, and not everything is a competition, but there is strength in community. And I honestly have loved it. I'm the eldest of 5, and all 4 of my younger brothers have been to or are still at Eden. And yeah, it honestly is, I can say it's one of the largest kind of defining experiences of my life. Yeah, perseverance is something that I definitely learned at Eden. Kind of that it's okay to not necessarily get the best results at any given time, but the fact that I'm able to pick myself up, or I've been taught the skills to pick myself up and keep going for what I want and what I want to achieve. So yeah, now I am working as a HR talent manager in one of the, I'll say, the largest employers within London. And what I do is kind of assisting others in their careers, and especially when it comes to BAME or minority ethnic candidates and females. And yeah, so I support them when it comes to their careers and how they can progress. And I have to say that my experiences at Eden have definitely helped me in my career now. and not just in my career, but in my home life, in my marriage, when it comes to looking after my son, things like helping out in the nursery. Hello. Things like helping out in the nursery have some of the activities that we did then, I find myself doing with my son now. I'm like, where did I learn that? And yeah, it's Eden. So yeah, I definitely am an advocate for Christian education and for you sending your child to my school. So I hope this was useful. And you're going to say bye-bye? No? Bye-bye.
Hi, my name's Anthon and I'm an Edenite. I started Eden in year 7 and I finished just after I left high school. The thing that I love about Eden the most is that it's not just a school, it's almost like a family, and you get one-to-one learning with the teachers. Since leaving Eden, I've done college and I just got my grades back a few days ago and I got a triple merit, so I'm really happy about that. Eden has really helped me in my learning difficulties, which is dyslexia.
Wow, and we do love Anthon so very, very much. And Michaela, a delight. Students that you can never imagine how wonderful it is to have them work with us. And what you've heard from them, and we're going to go on to introduce you to another assistant head in our school. He is the head, Mr. Akwesi Ajuman, and he's responsible for the high school. Mr. Ajuman.
Hi, it's such a pleasant experience to come to you today to share our experiences, our exciting experiences at the Eden High School. So after your child has gone through the laughter and gone through, those personal development, and ultimately they come to the high school, how do we begin to consolidate this transformational experience to ensure that your child is able to land where you dreamt that they should be? You see, Eden is an exciting new world. It is a new world that most parents, especially people of faith, would least dream that exists. If you're a person of faith, you're a Christian, imagine a place your child goes to where your child is not scolded for being a Christian. In fact, your child is celebrated. Christians are not the only people of faith we have at the school. We have people from other faiths, but regardless of what they believe or where they have come from, the fact of us being different, the facts of us being maybe different in terms of our race, etc., become the very, very facts that help us to form the foundational basis upon which your child's academic experience, is plotted. So, how will we begin when your child joins us at Eden, hopefully when school reopens? Your child will begin their experience by going through series of assessments. The first assessment your child will go through will be a baseline assessment. Yes, we want to know what your child is familiar with. The baseline assessment is not about how clever or how not clever your child is. No, it is to inform the teacher what your child is already familiar with and what they are not familiar with. That gives us a sense of the gap, the academic gap there is to fill. If we know this knowledge gap, it becomes easier for us to begin to set expectations so that the expectation we set for your child is significantly your child's and not another person's. We do not view your child as a piece of statistic. We view each and every child as a child created in the image of God. However different they are, whether they are dyslexic, like my former student, Anthon is, by the way, he was a wonderful student to teach. In all these, we use these very peculiarities to plot their trajectory. When they begin with this baseline assessment, they then go on to do a series of assessments, developmental assessments, and they will also take one very important assessment, and that assessment is their learning style. Because we recognize that every child comes to us already gifted with, a set of talents and things that make them tick, things that make them different. Unfortunately, in another world, these very same factors that make them different and will someday be celebrated and are celebrated, in fact, at Eden, will be the same factors that will have made them vulnerable, will have given rise to their disadvantage, and then entrench them in vulnerability. But in Eden, those become the foundational blocks, the blocks upon which their very academic, attainments will be tailored on. From there, we project where they will be. Another interesting thing I need to mention is that they will be supported in their phonics. I believe you have heard. And for me, it is exciting. I never heard of that anywhere, that a child in high school will be supported through phonics. Yes, they are supported in phonics. And mom or dad, if you yourself want to read, I'm inviting you over. Come over. We have really experienced teachers in phonics. Come and you will be supported so that you can know how to support your child. We will also assess their reading age, their spelling age, and things like that. And this will help us to know your child as a person, a human being in whom the image and glory of God resides. We believe that every child is a genius. It was Einstein who said that if you assess a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it might live its whole life believing it's a nobody, it's a fool, it's stupid. But assess a fish by its ability to swim, and you discover the genius in them. Everyone has a giant in them, a genius in them, and waiting for the right stimulus, the right, opportunity for them to show up. So when they come and we've done all these, we ensure that your child, and indeed the desires of the household, will be the factors that will determine how far they go, because Eden will never limit any child. Rather, if we ever have a battle and axe to grind with our children, it is because they may believe we are setting the bars too high. And why not? You have this 4-pound brain. What will you do with it? So we set the bars high. When they come in, they will be following a curriculum that is very broad and deep. Very broad in the sense that it will cut across all the EBAC subjects and many more that you did not dream of. The core subjects at Eden, being a faith school, perhaps in my mind, the most important, and I say it unapologetically, is religious studies. Because we target character development, we realize that in England, one of the most limiting factors affecting children's ability to perform is behavior. And I don't know any GP who fixes behavior than Jesus. And I'm sorry, I don't apologize for this. And when they come in, we target their spiritual development. In the spiritual development there, they will be taught to develop resiliency. They will also develop, improving self-esteem. And with all this, they will have a better perception of the world and a better perception of their own place. This leads to a goal orientation. And when a child is goal-oriented and engages with purpose, there is no material in the whole universe that is stronger than that. So that is where you want your child. We will not limit your child in their studies because we will be limited by quota. There are no quotas in our school. If all my children can be in a top set, why not? Sometimes I don't understand. If all my children can be in a top set, why not? So we will give your child the opportunity to the very day they write their exam. If they can convince us the very last day they are writing their exam that they will be able to handle certain level of challenge, we will give them the challenge and provide them with the best of support for them to be able to do this. Then they will go through their mathematics, they will go through their science, physics, chemistry, biology. They may study, double or single, but whatever they choose to study, these opportunities are there. And in the humanities and in other areas, they will be pursuing subjects such as history, geography, food preparation and nutrition, etc., in DT, materials and testers, etc., etc. It is broad. To be honest, Ofsted were amazed that at a school like us will have such a broad curriculum. Whenever you read our Ofsted report, we are always praised for the breadth and the depth of our curriculum. So when they come through, They will be following this trajectory gradually, and we'll be working with them. We have a range of resources, online resources, and other physical resources that are available in the school. But perhaps, apart from our faith, perhaps our greatest strength is the fact that we are able to offer one-on-one learning to every child. One-on-one learning. That means when I assess your child, I know your child for who that child is. Thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to meeting your child.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
The word education is derived from the word educare, which is a Latin word, which means to bring up. It's also related to another word, which is educere, which means to bring out or to bring forth what is within or to bring out one's potential. So in its largest sense, education is an act or an experience that has a formative effect on the mind, character, or physical ability of an individual. And indeed, this encapsulates the mission of the Eden Seventh-day Adventist School. The education provided at the Eden School caters for each child's intellectual needs. The education provided at the Eden School builds on their moral character. The education provided at the Eden School caters for their spiritual needs. The education provided at the Eden School meets their emotional needs. The education provided at the Eden School challenges young people to step out of their comfort zones and to question the world around them, to stand up for what is right and just, and to believe in themselves. The leaders of the Eden School will tell you how wonderful it is. Parents will testify of how pleased they are to send their children to the Eden School. Pupils will sing praises of their beloved Eden Seventh-day Adventist School. But allow me to share with you what Ofsted says about the Eden School. It says, leaders and staff have high expectation. This, together with strong pastoral care, enables pupils to achieve well. Ofsted goes on to say, leaders work together successfully to ensure that all pupils benefit from a good quality of education. Teachers are skilled in planning to meet pupils' needs. They have strong knowledge of the subjects they teach. They check pupils' understanding and adapt teaching to ensure that all pupils learn well. It also says that staff provide strong support to those pupils who are at a risk of falling behind, and this helps for those pupils to catch up. Ofsted goes on to say the proprietors has put in place strong governance arrangements. Governors are skilled and they challenge leaders effectively on what could be better in the school. What a fantastic testimony of our school. The Eden School is indeed a centre of excellence and an institution that educates the whole child for eternity.
Thank you from our Education Director, Mrs. Abakwe. Now I'm going to move you on to another one of our dynamic senior leaders. She's Mrs. Lynthia Grant, and she's not only our senior leader, but she's our deputy head and carries another heavy responsibility as our Senko. Mrs. Grant.
Okay, thank you. Okay, now when you think of an SEN student, what comes to mind? Think for a moment, what comes to mind when you hear the word SEN student? Okay, does a melting pot come in mind? Or a salad bowl come to mind? All right, now if I'm thinking about the melting pot, the thing about the melting pot is that you put all the ingredients in and they just all become one. There's no individuality in it. I would like us to think, as we talk about the SEN child, to think about the SEN child in terms of a salad bowl. The wonderful thing about salad is that you can put all different things. You might put some cucumbers, you might put some tomatoes, you can put lots of different things. And the great thing is that each thing that you put in, it contains and it actually stays within in terms of the quality of it. and it just retains the uniqueness. So if you know, although there might be lettuce and there might be cucumbers and there might be tomatoes, each thing retains its uniqueness, and it contributes in making the salad taste really great. And in the same way, I think when we think about children within the Eden School, and whether it's autism or ADHD or dyslexia or behavioral issues, we aim to ensure that each child knows that they are loved and highly valued by both God and all staff members, and that we have high expectations. I think that was already said, but we have high expectations of them despite the difficulties that they might be having. It's interesting that over the past 24 years, Eden have developed a reputation within the various local authorities of having the ability to transform the lives of children where others might have failed. At Eden, each child is seen as unique. I think we've said that word already. Is seen as unique and having something to contribute. They're well integrated into every aspect of the school life, from leading assembly maybe to washing dishes. And I remember one SEN student whose mom had taken him out of a previous school because she wasn't happy with how he was being treated. And he told me he was really surprised that he was being allowed to go on a school outing that we were in the process of organizing. And although he was in year 7, this was the first time, he said, in all his school life that he had been allowed to go on a school trip. As most times in his other school, when they were going out on trips, because he had some behavioral issues, he was kept locked in a room. Now, when he came to Eden, by encouraging him to be involved in all what that was going on, we learned that he was not only musical, he could sing, he could dance, he could play a number of instruments. Now imagine all this locked away because the focus was primarily on his behavior. Our aim, I think, in Eden is to work hand in hand with home in managing behavior of the SEN child, and understanding that behavior is a language. The focus is not so much about the behavior, but what is the child trying to communicate through that behavior? And what are they trying to say? What are they trying to tell you? And we try not to focus so much on labels. It's much more about focusing about what's inside and trying to bring that out. So working from the inside to bring out the qualities that's actually needed. Each SEN child has the opportunity to have one-to-one, and I think Ms. Sajman spoke about that, the wonderful opportunity of actually having one person work with them on a one-to-one basis, either TA, a qualified TA, or mentor, who works on really assisting them to develop their self-confidence, to build up their self-esteem, and support them, not only in the classroom in terms of learning, but also in learning about socializing, also learning about communicating, and really seeing that building and developing strong relationship with each student is really key in terms of moving the student on. And if things are not going great, and sometimes they don't go great, if they're not going great, we go back to the drawing board, and the SEN student has the flexibility to be involved in maybe creating and developing a timetable which more suits their need. And presently, and an example is presently, we have an SEN student who struggles with school life. She kind of very unstable in regard to wanting to be at school, but she really has a fascination about animals. So come September, she will be attending college 2 days a week and to do a course on working with animals, and then 3 days she will be at Eden working on her GCSEs. Now, school can be noisy and a busy place sometimes, yeah? For some children, that can be sometimes just far too much. We have our sensory room at Eden, which provides a calming and relaxing space where children have the freedom to explore and use all their senses that they actually wish in terms of learning and relaxing and getting, in connection with some of their senses. Now, and the other thing I think I need to say is that we're not only concerned about academics, but also have a really deep interest in the mental well-being of every single child. All students at Eden have the opportunity to make use of the amazing on-site resource that we have in regard to having a counselor available and also a play therapist available. in helping them actually manage any emotional and psychological issues that they might be facing. That's always available to them. And I was thinking that in my work with SEN students, I sometimes see them as butterflies with a broken wing. They are just as beautiful as all others, but they need help to spread their wings. At Eden, we're very much about mending wings so students can fly.
So beautiful.
Hello, my name's Erin. And my name's Rianne. And we go to the Eden School. What I like about the Eden School what I like about the Eden School is that I like art and I like music and I like going outside and we get to see our friends at school. What I like most to do in the Eden School is math, science and going outside and acting Moland.
One of our newest inventions that we've had over time at the Eden School, maybe for about a year now, in fact, is that we've moved away from teaching our children about just modern foreign languages. But we thought, hold on, what about our languages? What about, the fact that we have the Caribbean patois? Shouldn't our children be able to get in touch with that and relate to that and understand some of the words and be able to communicate? So we decided last year that we were not going to only have French and Spanish being taught at Eden, but we're also going to have the Ghanaian tree. So they're able to understand. We've got children from a Ghanaian background. We will also be teaching the Nigerian languages, so that our children again can be able to relate to the cultures that they're familiar with. Of course, we said the Caribbean patois. So whether it's the Dominican patois or the St. Lucian or the Grenadian patois or the Jamaican patois or the Trinidadian patois. We all, sometimes people say, well, you don't even really have a language if you're from the Caribbean most of the time. But the mere fact that we say things differently is a language in itself. And we are going to be going further with this and introducing our children more to what their parents experienced and how their parents communicated back home as such. We also introduce Japanese because it's a business language and we want our children to be successful entrepreneurs. And then Makaton. We want our children to be sensitive about others and people who can't hear and being able to, even if they can only say, hello, how are you, in the sign language. So, we've got all those exciting plans that we're going to move ahead with. We started last year and we're going to continue with them into this new year in September. Our ultimate aim. Okay, before we even go on to our ultimate aim, we've had a question, which is, what is the ratio of teacher to pupils? And I think it might have been said before, but maybe Miss Hoyle, would you like to share that one, please?
Well, I'd like to say that I have the biggest class in the school at the moment, or the potential in starting in September, and that would be between 14 to 16 students. Majority of our classes are much, much smaller than that. So that, and also the fact that our classes in primary, they're combined. So my class would be year 1 and 2, and in primary we'll have another class that is 3 and 4, year 3 and 4, and then another class that's year 5 and 6. So if you can imagine how many children approximately would be in my class of year 1, and approximately how many be in my class of year 2. So it would approximately be something like 7 and 5, or a little bit more, depending on the year levels, the year group. Yeah.
Miss Davis, could you?
Yeah, when the children are younger, the younger the children, the ratio is actually, it goes down. So if in the early years department, the 2-year-olds would be 1 to 4, and then 3 to 5 would be 1 to 6.
Okay. So basically our classes are very, very small. I've taught 2 children in a class, 3 children in a class, 5 children in a class, 7. As we said, when we get to about 15, we say, no, it's a bit too big. We have to split up, because we know that we can give, as Mr. Adjuman said, that individual one-to-one attention when our classes are small. When they're big, our children lose out. So we do not appreciate big classes.
Okay.
Is there another question? Okay, I also, oh yes. Is there a separate cost for learning support, or is it included in the fees? Ms. Grant, would you like to explain that one?
Okay, so any child who has an education healthcare plan and is needing additional support, that is oftentimes covered in the fee, so you don't pay extra for that. It's part of the funds that's given by the local authority to cover supporting the child.
That's right. And so generally, children in our school, if they do, there are some children that are like borderline. We know they need extra support, but they don't have an educational healthcare plan. So that's included in the fees that we charge. But if a child, as Ms. Grant says, has an educational healthcare plan, then all of the support they're going to get, the local authority would fund that. Another question. Are you able to identify a child with learning difficulties, which is yet to be identified by the current school when they move to your school? Who wants to answer that one?
Well,
Ms. Grant?
I mean, I had a son at Eden, and my children have only been at Eden, and they've been identified whilst at Eden. But you have to work. It's not just a solo diagnostics. It's about the parent, it's about the school as well, and also with other professionals like your GP. Would you say that, Miss Grant? It's us working with the school, and not only us working with the school, but also working with our GP to get all those in line so that the process can go through seamlessly. But it can be done. My 2 of my sons are autistic and dyslexic, and they've been diagnosed at the Eden School in primary and ready for high school. So yes.
Yeah, I think when you asked the question, both myself and Mrs. Hoylett was smiling, because we have a number of children at the moment who are with us, and we have identified, because the classes are small, it means teachers are very observant, and they're able to see that something isn't quite right. Assessments are done, and then we're able then to make application to request from any local authority that an educational healthcare plan be completed, or that an assessment be done, so that the child can receive the additional support that they need.
Definitely. Thank you. I think sometimes what we say at school is that all of our children have special needs, and not only all the children, but all the teachers too. We all have our isms and schisms. We all have our weaknesses and our strengths, and there's always something that needs building up. And so we often find that yes, we have maybe the set amount of children who are labeled as SCN, but there are other children who need that support as well. And then there are other children who just may have something going on for them that they can't cope with and handle. So that's why we have the counselors in and the play therapist and what have you, because I've found over the years, and Mrs. Grant could support me on this, that our children, that first group we started with, it was very clear to see in 1995 who were the ones that needed support and who didn't. But as the years have gone by, it's become a bit more blurred, and it's harder to the children come to us and we think, oh, they're fine in every way. And it's only over time and working closely with them that we find that no, they need help. We have to intervene. We've got to have some intervention. We've got to do something for them. So yes, we can work that one out. Another question: what supports are in place for a child who is behind in their academics? Mr. Adjuman, would you like to answer that one? I'm not hearing, sir.
Mike.
Okay, go ahead, sir. Sir, did you hear the question?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
It's a beautiful question. That is because regardless of where our children are starting, you will realize that we still have very high expectations for them. That's why I love the question. When your child comes in, I've already mentioned that your child will go through a series of assessments. Those assessments will clearly determine their starting point. It will also clearly determine the sort of factors that have given rise to their disadvantage when it comes to learning, the nature of the gaps, etc., etc. Once we know that, it goes into, designing a personal plan for the student, and depending on their needs. This is very important that we tailor it. So depending on their needs, the student may need to sometimes stay back for some support, and especially those in KS4, that is open to everybody. On a number of days in the week, everyone is required to stay back so that they can be supported on the areas where they are lagging behind. But apart from that, there are also TAs, there are also, the one-to-one, as we have echoed throughout the presentation. And these allow us to provide the specific support they need. Sometimes the support, the need may demonstrate itself, may manifest in academic performance, but it might have a remote cause. And this remote cause might be psychological. It may be some emotional injury the child has incurred as they were going through their developmental stages. When these are identified, there are specialists in those areas that are able to provide the support that is required. So there is a variety, a range of supports. I don't need to mention maybe the music therapy, a lot of things. So you let your child come in, and once these are assessed, we will work together with you to determine where the sort of direction they need to go.
Thank you. Ms. Hoylett, there's a question here for you. How do you support the reluctant reader and the reluctant writer?
I just wanted to add, in addition to that question, the previous question, that in primary, we negotiate with the parents additional support that we try to organize after school. We try to at least see any child that needs the additional support at least 2 evenings a week, depending on what the parent is, in agreement with. And in addition to that, we also have TAs that work with the children, especially the ones that we feel that needs additional support in order to bring them up and to give them an intervention program. Sorry, the question was reluctant readers and writers. Okay, so we try to stimulate reluctant readers and writers through doing all kinds of different things. We try to stimulate their senses through music, through imagery, and so on. And also we try to work alongside finding out what their interests are. If a child is very interested in football, if a child is very interested in music, if a child is very interested in singing, dancing, or transportation. Some of our children are very interested in things like that. I have a child who's very interested in learning about the about the planets, the different planets. And so we find what engages them, what they like talking about, and it's there we go from. Because once you engage their interest, then we can start taking material that suits their interests and get them to discuss it, and then afterwards try to get them to start reading about it.
Okay, Ms.
And
Davis. Okay, another question. I'd like my child to start in September. What are my next steps? Ms. Davis, you can answer that one.
Well, I would say that one of the first things to do, get onto our website. We have an admission, click on the admissions and fill out the online form. We have you can request a prospectus, and then you can get in touch with us via email so that we can get in touch with we can answer your questions, and then you can sort of do your application. We also, Miss, I don't know, we're not having this is our virtual open day.
This is our open day.
Yeah, we can direct you to, with everyone's specific, everyone's different. So your requirement depends on if it's your earliest. You might want to speak to me, Mrs. Ose can contact me. You might need to speak to Miss Hoylett, Pisenko, or Miss Ajiman, or Miss Ose. We will be in touch with you and get you the requirements, tell you about the fees. It will be in the prospectus and the uniform. We've got a beautiful uniform. Our colors are amazing. So your children will get ready for September, and we have made plans for September. We have taken into account the risk assessment for the the global pandemic. So we are Ofsted has agreed, and we are ready for your children.
The other question is,
so I think you were going to speak about the ultimate aims.
Okay, is the Eden SDA School only for children from the Seventh-day Adventist Church?
Okay.
Everybody answer that one?
No, I think these questions are just questions that are frequently asked. And we're just sharing the answers because these are questions asked all the time. Yeah.
Well, the answer, everyone can say the answer, no. We welcome children from all backgrounds and all walks of life. And well, there's so many ways you can support us. We are a registered charity, and we rely on the grace of God and the kindness of our supporters to survive. Please click on the link and you will be able to get more information on that. Our ultimate aim is to ensure that our pupils fulfill their God-given potential to be the very best they can be, and to actively participate in being educated for both now and for eternity. Great results, character building, lasting friendships, a healthier lifestyle, and a brighter future is in store for your children. So join us and give your child the Eden experience. Thank you very much, everyone.